Welcome to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast, a podcast where we provide tips and tricks to take the confusion out of learning to play guitar. Beginner Guitar Academy is a fast-growing online guitar school taking you from complete beginner to well-rounded guitarist. So are you ready for your next guitar lesson?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Here's your host, Amazon best-selling author of the book Learn to Play Electric Guitar, Paul Andrews.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing what to practice when you're short on time. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. And firstly, a quick reminder to all the Academy members that this Saturday is our song workshop and we'll be looking at Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. So it's actually his 75th birthday of David Gilmour, so what a great time to obviously have a go at the song. And I've arranged it in 3 different levels. So we've got beginner, intermediate and the full recorded version. So for beginners, we're going to be learning just the song, just with some simple open chords. For the more intermediates, we're going to be bringing in some syncopated rhythms, and for the advanced, we're going to play exactly like he does on record, so with bar chords. We're also going to look at the solo, dive into Dave Gilmour's technique, the patterns he uses, kind of the different lead styles and techniques he has in that song, so you can take that away and then improvise and play around. So it's going to be really awesome, and that's this Saturday, 9:30 a.m. GMT, so UK time, and just check out the dashboard and you'll find the link there to join me. Other things, I've just released a couple of quick tip videos, one on the ultimate song list and another on practice log. So these are really important when you're just starting out. The ultimate song list is just writing out a list of songs you ultimately want to be able to play, and that'll set you up with basically goals and milestones to reach. And the practice log is a way of recording your practice sessions or minutes of those practice sessions, and that will help you accountable. That will help you kind of just keep track of how you're progressing. And for Academy members, I've put templates you can download and fill in. So that is all waiting for you in the Academy. Just log in and that's all on the dashboard, all the links. So that's all the housekeeping out of the way. Now let's dive in with today's episode. And we're going to be discussing what to practice when you're short on time. So in this episode, we're going to be discussing what to practice when you're short on time. And I think this is a really important topic to discuss because everybody is short on time. Everybody is busy. So it's super important to make the most out of the little time you have. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. I'm going to give you some ideas of what you should be practicing. I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can then create a practice schedule that's actually going to work and get the most out of the little time you have. We're going to talk a little bit about SMART goals, which sounds very kind of corporate, doesn't it? And all that kind of good stuff. So let's kind of dive in. So really, you probably heard me talk about this before in other episodes, but what should you be practicing? So when you've not got much time, we want to be focusing mainly on the stuff that we're going to get the most bang for our buck. And that is not the riff you've been playing for the last 10 years or the song that you always pick up the guitar and play, because that's not practice. That's just playing. That's just performance. So that's the first definition. When we're practicing, we want to be practicing, especially if you've only got 5 or 10 minutes. You can do a lot in 5 and 10 minutes, but it's got to be focused and it's got to be deliberate. So that's kind of the main things we're going to talk about when we're talking about how to get the most bang for your buck, is just make sure you're not wasting time. So you want to be focusing on your skills, and Academy members will know this, because our method, the G4 method that we use in the Academy, is built on skills. And those 7 skills are picking, chords, arpeggios, scales, rhythm, notes, and ear training or aural. So they're what we call the 7 essential skills. And if you base or build your practice around those 7 skills, you're going to find you're going to move a lot quicker than other people that aren't doing that. The reason why, because those 7 skills are what you're going to find in every song you learn to play. Every song is going to have either chords, arpeggios, scales. It's going to have some kind of rhythm, and you're going to be picking, because that is a driving force of anything you do on the guitar. So you want to have as a basis of your practice 7 skills. Now, the 7 skills do not sound sexy. Picking chords, arpeggios, that's not why I want to pick up the song and pick up the guitar and learn it. We want to play songs, but it's those skills that are going to make it easier to play the songs. So bear that in mind. That's why we're doing it. Okay, so next thing, we want to start creating a practice schedule. And like I said a minute ago, we want to get the most out of the little time we have, so we want to make it primarily on the skills, but obviously we want songs as well. Think of skills like the broccoli. It's kind of the healthy stuff for us. It's going to make us a more healthy player. But we want to have some fun as well, so make sure you got songs in there too. Make sure you got some fun riffs to play around with, but just make sure that doesn't become your whole practice routine. Again, if it's not structured, you'll end up just playing the same riff, the same song that you've been playing for the last 20 years. And in another 10 years, you'll be thinking, I've not progressed much, but I can play Smoke on the Water really, really well. But all my other skills are quite weak. I'm not getting fast from a chord change. I'm not finding I'm staying in time with a metronome. It's because we're not working on foundational skills. So we need to work on the skills. You've probably got that already from me banging on about them so much. So when we're talking about a practice routine, I break a practice routine into 4 different sections. And that is section 1 is going to be our picking and warm-up section. Section 2 is going to then focus on skill 1. Section 3 is going to focus on our second skill. And section 4 is going to be focused on our song. So picking and warm-up, the first section, that is just going to be working on some technique drills. So hand synchronization exercises. You could just working on some of the ones we've got in the academy, the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. Every level has different picking exercises. And notice I'm saying picking because we really want to be drilling our right hand. That is the most important hand, the picking hand, because it's the hand that drives the left hand. Again, a common misconception is that the left hand's most important because it's the one that's seen to be doing most of the work, but it's the right hand that sounds the left. And I'm saying this for right-handed guitar players. Obviously, if you're left-handed, it's the left hand that's driving the right. But it's the picking hand that's most important. So we really want to drill our picking. We want to get very competent. So we have the accuracy and we have the confidence in our hands. So we don't have to be looking left and right. Our right hand, again, if you're right-handed or just picking hand, is so well practiced and exercised that we're not having to look at it. You can look at the left, but you know the accuracy is there in the right. So that's where we want to get to. So that's the importance of doing picking every time, or some kind of warm-up drill, get your muscles going, get your fingers going, so you're ready then to, crack on. Now, skill 1, that is just taking a skill from the 7. So it could be, obviously we've done picking as a warm-up, could do rhythm, could do chords, could do ear training, could do notes, so some theory or note reading, anything like that. And then skill 2 is then another skill from the 7. So you want to try and mix that up. So if you're doing chords for skill 1, maybe do arpeggios for skill 2, or chords for skill 1, maybe do rhythm for skill 2. Anything like that. So try and vary the different skills. And the idea is if you're practicing 3 or 4 or 5 times, a week, ideally, amazing if you do every day, but if you only get 2 or 3 times a week, that's okay. If you're rotating your skills, you've still gone through 6 skills because you're doing 2 skills every time. If you're doing 3 times a week, you rotate them, you've gone through your 6 skills, and you're doing picking anyway as your first, so you've done your 7 skills. So even if you're practicing 3 times, you've still gone through all 7 essential skills. This is the importance of having a structure. You find you're building all your skills up. You're not just focusing on chords, getting really good at them, and leaving everything else out. So that's the middle part of our practice routine, the skills. Work through those 7, and then the last bit is having some fun and go through some songs. And this can just be from your ultimate song list. I said at the start of this episode about the quick tip video I've done on that, which is just writing down the songs you ultimately want to play. And then that gives you also a focus to go for. If you're Academy member, obviously we have our songs. We've got 15 riffs, 15 songs for each of the 5 different levels, and you have access to that. So, I've kind of chosen them for you because they're of that level. They're going to be of the level you're at, so you're not going to feel stressed, you're not going to feel demotivated because they're too difficult. So, Academy members, check that out. But yeah, songs is then obviously when we can have some fun. And if you're working this, really well, you'd have maybe for skill 1, you're working on particular chords. Say you're working on your G, your D, your C chord. Skill 2, say you're working on maybe 8th note kind of rhythms, so strumming. Then the song at the end would be then putting all that together. So maybe you do Knock on Heaven's Door, or maybe you do Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton, as that uses those chords. That's exactly how I map things out in the academy. That's how I arrange the classes. Is so all the skills you work, we then put together in a song at the end, so you can see kind of how it works and how it all fits together. So that's the structure. So we got our 5 minutes or picking. We got our skill 1, we got then our skill 2, and then we got our song. Now, I said 5 minutes then, because we're going to start now talking about time and how much time we should be putting on each one of these different parts of our practice routine. So remember, part 1 is picking warm-up, part 2 is skill 1, part 3 is skill 2, and then the 4th one is the song. So let me say it again so I get messing up the numbers. So first part is the picking and warm-up, second part is the skill, or skill 1, third part is skill 2, and then 4th part is the song. So now how much time you give to each section, or 4 sections, is entirely up to you, how much time you got. If you got maybe, 10 minutes, you could do 2 minutes of each one. So you could do 2 minutes of picking and warm-up. You could do maybe 3 for skill 1, then 3 for skill 2, and then 2 for song at the end. Then that gives you your 10. You could do less on skills and do more song. You can do it however you want to do it. A really good one that we shoot for is 20 minutes, so you're doing 5 minutes of each. If you've got half an hour, you could do 5 minutes picking a warm-up, 5 minutes song at the end, and then 10 minutes in the middle on skill 1, skill 2. Again, giving more time for the skills, it's going to help you develop faster as a player, working on obviously your technique and the foundational skills. If you just got 5 minutes, a minute of each, maybe 2 minutes of songs at the end. So you see, even if you've got 5 minutes, you've got a warm-up, you're working on 2 skills, say maybe arpeggios and scales for a couple of minutes, and then you've got your song at the end as well. So you've kind of ticked off all the boxes. You're working on all different areas, even just in 5 minutes. You can get a hell of a lot done in 5 minutes. So don't discount even just 5 minutes, because you can actually get through quite a lot. Now, that's how much time I'd recommend spending. But don't worry again if you've only got a few minutes. If you've only got 5 minutes, a little bit of something is a whole better than a lot of nothing. So even if you've only got a few minutes, it's going to be better than not doing anything. It's very easy to think, oh man, I've only got 5 minutes. There's no point picking up the guitar because I'm not going to get anything done. You can do a whole routine in 5 minutes. As I said a minute ago, picking for 1 minute, skill 1 for maybe 1 minute, then skill 2 for 1 minute, and then a song at the end for a couple of minutes. So reward yourself, a couple of minutes at the end for a bit of a fun riff or tune, and you've gone through a little bit of everything. The trick here is to really have a clear goal, because when you're saying, oh, we're going to do skill 1 for 1 minute, you'll find 1 minute goes very quickly. So we've got to be very purposeful. You have a purpose, let me say that again, with what you're actually trying to aim to get done in that 1 minute. If you're thinking, for instance, I want to change from my G to C chord and I want to get quicker. That's not really a very good goal, because quicker, there's no way of measuring quicker, because the quick speed you're trying to reach that you've probably got in your head, that's going to get faster as your changes get faster. There's nothing set in stone. So what I'd really like to do is think, oh, I want to change from G to C maybe 10 times in 30 seconds. That's super measurable. That's achievable. It's everything that we want to be having in a clear goal. And you just whack on a timer, and then there you go. And if you can do 10 times in 30 seconds, you're rocking it. And then throughout the week, you can obviously try and get that faster. Or that could be your goal for the week if you can't quite do that yet. But you've got something really tangible to work towards. And when you've got that really focused, you'll be surprised at how much you can do in a minute. Because then you've got, so if you're doing 10 times, you've got 20 changes there in 1 minute. That's pretty good. You're going to see results from that. That's not just going to be a wasted minute. That's actually quite good. So just to give you an idea, you can actually get a lot done in 1 minute. And I said when we started that we're going to go a bit corporate. We're going to talk about SMART goals, which sounds like something you might do in, like a boardroom or something like that, or meeting with your boss. But if you don't know what SMART goals are, the word SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So have that in your kind of back of your mind when you're thinking about what you want to achieve, because if you can hit each one of those points in the SMART goals, you're going to be able to have a goal which you can reach. So something specific, like we're going to go from G to C. Something measurable, because we're going to try and do 10 times in 30 seconds. Achievable, yep, I can do that. I've been working on C and G. I know the shapes. Realistic, yep, that's realistic because I've got, a whole week to get those times in. I know I can practice 3 times. And timely, I'm going to give myself the week to crack that. And we've got that 30 seconds kind of goal as well. So you can see what I mean? That is very, very targeted, is very achievable. You're more likely to reach it rather than just saying we'll do G to C and get quicker. How do you know when you reached it? And then you're just going to get annoyed because you don't know if you reached it. You're never going to know if you've ever reached it, so you'll just be going forever. So make sure your goals are SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And I'm going to write all this in the lesson notes. So if you go to beginnerguitaracademy.com and you look at the very top, you'll see the link to the podcast, and then go over there, find this episode, and then you'll see the lesson notes there, and I'll write all this in there for you. Next thing we want to talk about is how you can make this even easier. So, and by that I mean making practice super simple. Easy ways of doing this is having a guitar out. So upstairs in my sitting room, my guitar is out, and it's sitting next to my kind of comfy chair. So I can pick it up and play whenever I want. I'm also just ordered a Spark amp, one of the cool little desktop amps. And that's just so I can basically have some fun, but just to have up there. I use a Headrush gig board, and that has to be plugged into my full studio setup. And the other amps I've got a Fender DeVille, which is a 12-inch speaker, heavy, ridiculous amp. So I'm not going to cut that up, into the front room. So make it easy. Have a nice little practice amp that you can just plug your headphones in. You can just rock out. There's easy ways. If you find you may be an acoustic player and you can't practice when you want to because obviously there's other people in the house, it's quite loud, then don't strum. So practice your chord changes, but just move your fretting hands. Don't strum the strings, and then there's no sound. Practice your picking, but mute the strings. Put your hand over top of the strings so you're just getting duk, 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 dead sounds. So there's ways we can practice without making lots of noise, which will help, obviously, if you've got kids sleeping upstairs and you can only practice when you get home and you worked late and, I should do like 5 minutes, but I can't because there's people around and stuff. There's ways we can do this. Another way I want to talk about is skills you can work on that you don't even need the guitar. And the great ones we can do, the kind of top 3, if you like, is ear training, note reading, and theory. So there's so many cool little apps you can download to your phone which will work on your ear training. Feature Music is one that I use at my offline school. Earmaster Pro is another good one. Notes, there's some really good ones for notes as well. emusictheory.com is a website I use quite a lot, and they have a app that you can download. And if you go to the website, it will kind of prompt you to download it. And that has loads of nice little drills to work on your note reading, to identify notes on the stave. So that's really helpful. And theory, there's loads of good websites. You can obviously read through some theory and work on kind of your theory chops as well. And this sort of stuff you can do when you're waiting for perhaps your daughter. One Saturday morning, you're sitting outside in the cold as she's doing a dance class. I'm using that because that's an example that I have to do. I have to sit outside my daughter's dance class as she's inside dancing away. And, there's 45 minutes there. Well, I can have my phone, I can, do work, or I can do some ear training apps, so I can do stuff like that. Not just scroll through Facebook, which, if you're like me, you always do. And even when I'm trying to look on my phone to do something, I get sidetracked and off I go scrolling through Instagram. So put some actual apps on there which are going to be useful, and you'll learn more than just what your mate has had for dinner or what your friend is up to. You actually do something that's going to make you progress as a musician. So yeah, they're the 3 skills: ear training, notes, theory. Easy ones you can do. You don't even need a guitar. If you're commuting to London, probably not if you're one of our American listeners, that'd be quite a big commute. But if you're commuting, to work, then it's ones you can do just on the train, on the bus, or whatever, whatever mode of transport you're using. Really simple to do. So the main takeaway from there is have things out, make it easy. Have some apps on your phone that you can just click on, boom, then you're practicing this stuff. Have your guitar out. So if you've got 5 minutes, you're waiting in the morning to leave, but someone, again, I'm using all mine examples. My daughter's trying to find her socks, which I don't know why she can never find them. It takes like 20 minutes to find socks. Then I can pick up my guitar and I can have a go at some exercise. I can have a go at some chord changes. That's kind of, that's why my guitar is out next to the chair, because I know that there's going to be a sock fiasco in the morning. So I can pick up my guitar and kind of have a go at a few exercises. So make things easy. And there we go, guys. So hopefully little takeaways we can have here. The main one is practice your skills. So the 7 essential skills: picking, chords, arpeggios, scales, rhythm, notes, and aural. Notes meaning the notes on the guitar, so the theory or note reading. Aural, fancy word for ears. So working on your ear training. Make that the foundation of your practice routine. And when it comes to practice routine, 4 parts. First part is picking and warm up. Second part is skill 1. Third part is skill 2. And fourth part is song. You're going to rotate your skills throughout the week. So then by the end of the week, you've gone through all 7. Everything is progressing. Everything is getting better. Not just 1 or 2 skills. You're working all of them. Vary the amount of time you're going to spend on each part of our practice routine, the 4 different sections, however you like. If you've got 4 minutes, do 1 minute of each. If you've got 10 minutes, maybe a couple of minutes on each one, and then a bit more on the song at the end. Do it however you like. As long as you're getting the varied kind of practice routine, do it however you like. Have clear goals. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Make sure you know what you're practicing and you know where you're trying to reach. Like I said a minute ago, work with a metronome, work with a timer are fantastic ways of measuring. If you're an Academy member, you'll know that, for instance, level 1, 60 beats per minute is the target for everything in the book, except for the picking, which is 80. So we have that clear goal. If you can play at 60, you're ready to move on. That's what we want to aim at. Have a clear goal. And then make things easy. Have some apps on your phone so you can quickly, when you're sitting there waiting for someone, fire it up and just have a go at a few notes. Have a go at a little music game. A really good one is Staff Wars, which is a really fun game, and that's to help note reading, but it's like a spaceship game and you're shooting the notes, so it's quite a fun one to do, and it just makes it interesting. Work on your theory, work on your ear training, do something which is, again, don't just sit there and scroll through Facebook. If you've got a couple of minutes, fire up an app, have some fun, have your guitar out, have everything ready. So if you only got a few minutes, everything's ready to get going. Whew. Guys, it's been an intense one, this one, isn't it? I've fired through a lot of different stuff, but hopefully there's lots of actionable little things you can go away with today, put into your practice, and you're going to find, even if you have got a little bit of time, you're short on time, hopefully now we know what to practice. We have an idea of how we can get the most out of the few minutes we have. And there we go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. Lots of hopefully little ideas to take away and put now into your practice. So when you are short on time, you can still get the most out of the few minutes that you have. So if you enjoyed this, please rate and review on whatever podcast app you are listening to this on. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out any episodes. And look forward to seeing you next week's episode for more tips and tricks for beginner guitar players. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. If you've enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast, I invite you to come and check out beginnerguitaracademy.com. Beginner Guitar Academy is the essential resource for beginner and intermediate guitarists looking to take the confusion out of learning and the pain out of practice. Now, if you've never picked up the guitar before and don't know where to begin, or maybe you've been going around in circles for years and now looking for direction and structure, Beginner Guitar Academy is for you. Our structured classes, lessons, fortnightly workshops, video evaluation system and private community will give you everything you need to become the guitar player you want to be. And right now you can give Beginner Guitar Academy a try for 2 weeks for just $1. So head over to beginnerguitaracademy.com, sign up today, and I look forward to seeing you in the academy soon.
Thank you for listening to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, updates, or to start your membership today, please visit us at www.beginnerguitaracademy.com. Until next time, take care.